What's good, everybody? Yeah, I know I just dropped a video recently, but I'm trying to keep myself inspired to keep going, keep pushing, putting out the content. So I hope everybody's doing well on this fine day. As you can see, it's looking pretty good out here. And I want to continue the video I started from the other day, and this will be part 2 from Intro to Spirituality. In today's episode, I want to talk about spiritual identity and how to navigate through, going through this spiritual awakening and the beginning processes of the spiritual awakening. We got to understand we have to all find our own lanes when it comes to spirituality. A lot of us, we left religion because of the structure, and it just wasn't, adding up to a lot of us. Like, some people are fine with religion and they can find light and knowledge in there. But the ones I'm talking about, y'all know that there's a deeper knowledge out there where you guys are like, man, even though, religion's cool, we got Jesus, we got all this stuff, there's something deeper I want to understand. And what is that deeper thing I'm trying to understand? What you're trying to understand is you're trying to understand who you are at the core, the person you were before all your pain, all your sufferings, before the identity you dropped off into you. The you say you are, the you that you see in the mirror. There's a deeper you at the core, the essence of you. And that's what you're trying to tap into. That's what you're trying to find again. Because we read all this religious text and all this stuff, and yeah, they say all these nice things, but we always feel like it's a piece missing. And what is that piece? We cannot reach that piece if we're not being our true selves. And that's why I want to talk about spiritual identity. This is a true journey of finding who you are at the core and not who you just portray yourself to be as. So the beginning of the spiritual journey sometimes is very uncomfortable because we're now dealing with understanding that maybe I'm not honoring myself the best way I can. That's through friendships, people, entertainment, things we consume. We're not putting our energy towards things that are beneficial to our core selves. So what starts to happen is as we start to shift into the spiritual world, it's actually easier for us to get sidetracked by it. So even if you leave the religious scene and you come to the spiritual scene, being overly religious and being overly spiritual is the same thing. So what you are, once again, is you're looking for that balance. So as you transition to spirituality, don't feel like it's a rush to be a certain way. So again, that's not true spirituality. That's, once again, the religious mindset kicking back in. Understand that your spirituality is not supposed to look the same to everybody. You have to follow your own inner guidance system. So what do I mean by that? As you transition to spirituality, you may hear about, vegetarianism, veganism, crystals, dreadlocks, chakra balancing, meditating, and all these cool things. And all that's fine, right? But don't feel like you have to be so quick to transition into that lifestyle. I remember myself when I first began my spiritual journey, as I was hearing everybody's insights and takes on spirituality, I wanted the dreads, I wanted the crystals, I wanted to be vegetarian. In fact, I was vegetarian for 4 months. And, even though that was cool and all that, I was still having, visions of my past life. It just may not have been my time to transition into vegetarianism. So I'm just trying to tell you, if you rush into that transition, vegetarianism and veganism may be for you. But if you rush into that transition from a place of you want to fit the model of what you think spirituality is already, you're just going to crash and end up back to stage 1 where you were at the beginning. So what I mean by this is transition slowly. If you're starting to resonate with you being a vegan or being a vegetarian, slowly push towards that. If reading about the chakras and meditating starting becoming more interesting to you, read up on that, study up on that. Start following your heart and the things that, resonate with you enough that you want to be like, man, what is that about? Start listening to yourself. That's all spirituality is really about. Listen to what your core essence is telling you. And as you start to listen to it more and more, your intuition strengthens because now you're listening to your core essence instead of your peers, your family members, what the news is saying, what the media is saying. If you're feeling perfectly happy and the media comes up with this news article and you allow it to throw you off your emotions, who do you blame for that? You were perfectly happy, and then you seen that article, now you're in a bad mood. Who's to blame for that? See, once again, you didn't listen to how you were feeling, so you allowed yourself to be swayed by outside influences. Start listening to yourself. And this process reveals a lot of things to you. Friends start falling back. Life experiences start falling back. Things start falling back. So it starts becoming different as a different experience. But what's happening now is you're choosing yourself. So the very people that are drawn to you for the very things that they can benefit from you, they start to fall back because they now start to see you respect yourself more. You respect your energy more. A lot of people just want your energy for nothing. Spiritual people, y'all know what I'm talking about. People just want to be around you, be around your presence, have your advice, and they offer you nothing. That's you draining yourself, but you got to be strong enough to realize that this is not a reciprocal relationship. I got to cut that off. Everybody should be watering each other, and if one person's watering as the other plant is dying, you're only draining yourself. So once again, it's about honoring yourself. So what if people want you to go vote? If you don't feel voting's for you, it's not for you. If you don't feel veganism and vegetarianism is for you, it's not for you. You may get to a point where you understand that, but if you're not currently resonating with it, it's just not for you. Don't let other people put you on their timelines and how things should be done. Start listening to how you feel and not what people are giving around you. And as you start to honor yourself more and more, you're going to start to notice your vibrations going up. The same people do not have the same connection to you. They cannot get around you, and they no longer have access to you because now you're removing the little pains from yourself that they were drawn to and that they were able to attach to you due to those pains and traumas that they had. But once you're no longer resonating on that same level, you want to heal, you want to be better, the people that want to stay the same and not evolve are going to exactly what's going to happen. So you start to stand in your own truth. You start to walk in your own right. You're running the show. This is your perspective. The universe is all, the mind is mental. It's only all from your perspective. Don't allow somebody else to dictate that for you. Doesn't matter what they did. It doesn't matter what society is saying. Be willing to stand and die for what you believe in. Whatever you resonate with, be willing to stand on that. Don't let your peers punk you out of what you believe. You got to stand on that shit. And as you start to stand on that, God's going to connect with you more. You start to find out your own spiritual identity. You don't have to be like everybody else. It doesn't have to make sense to everybody else. That's when you start developing that confidence. And as you develop that confidence, what starts to happen is you start to be the standard for stuff. You get to say this is that. And then, yeah, if people give rebuttal, you still stand on that. And as you start to see you stand on that, the ones with less confidence are going to walk on your right because you're popping your shit with confidence. And they see that. Everything's a reflection of confidence. God is seen through confidence. So people can say their piece, but you stand on what you believe in. They don't believe in what they believe in as much. What's going to happen is that they're going to eventually start to see what you're saying. So stand on what you believe in. Don't let people sway you away because it's coming from weaker wills. You got a lot stronger will. In fact, if you're going to awaken spiritually, it's already telling you your will is very strong. Keep going. Don't allow others to deter you and think a certain way. You get to decide how you think and you feel. Not your peers, not the people around you. Just keep going. Keep working. Eventually, you'll get to a point where you're the authority. It may not be that way right now. But that's all about the journey. It's a spiritual journey. You don't plant the flower seed. You don't plant the seeds and expect the flower the next day. Enjoy watering the plants. Enjoy the process of seeing the flower sprout. And then one day you'll look up and you realize it's a fully sprouted flower. That flower is you once you do the work. So yeah, I'm going to sign on that note. Well, once again, Part 3 coming soon. I'm going to keep pushing, keep going. And that's about it. I'm out.